Hi everyone, it's Lucy from My Crazy Craft Life, and I'm here today with the design team post for Scrapping for Less. I am making cards. I made 4 different cards using the adorable stamp set from Pink and Maine, Turtley Amazing. And I just loved these images. I thought they were so adorable. And I love the I'll ride any wave with you sentiment, and then the other sentiment they have in there is you are totally amazing. So on the 4 cards I used 2 and 2. On 2 of them I used that, and 2 of them I used the other one. Now for these backgrounds I decided to use my embossing folders. I don't use them a lot, and I thought it was time to give them a little bit of love. So I made 3 different ones. So the first one that you saw there was one from Teresa. The second one that you saw there was one that we got from a Scrapping for Less card kit, and I can't remember which one, but I know we got that as part of a Scrapping for Less kit. And then the other one with all of the bubbles or dots or whatever it was is a Tim Holtz Alterations one, Sizzix. And so I just made those panels with those. And then I'm going to do some Distress Oxide color blending with them, and I'm just going to kind of make some watery looking kind of backgrounds, I guess you want to say. I used peacock feathers, mermaid lagoon, wilted violet, picked raspberry, and tumbled glass. So those are all of the colors that I used on the 3 embossed panels that I'm going to be using. And not on all of them, I didn't use all of the colors. On just 2 of them, actually, I used all the colors. This one I was trying to do more of an ombre with the tumbled glass, the mermaid lagoon, and then the peacock feathers on the bottom. So that's going to be the bottom, kind of like the bottom of the ocean is darker. So that's what I was trying to do with that one. This one I was doing layers, and I actually wanted the bottom to be darker. And then that picked raspberry was just so bright, it really didn't end up coming out the way I was thinking it was going to. I don't know. It just didn't. I think it looks fine, and I went with it. But like I said, it was just a little bit darker. I was trying to go for more of the ombre look with it, with the dark up to the light, but it was still fine. Now the next background, so I ended up making 4 cards, and that was the 3 that I used the embossing folders on. And then this last one I used a stencil. It's a Prima stencil. I picked it up at Hobby Lobby on clearance for $1.50. It's a 6x6 stencil. I'm not sure on the name. I didn't see any name on it anywhere. And for this one I only used the tumbled glass. And I would suggest when you're doing that to use some type of adhesive spray or even just tape it down. I did not. I just held it in place and moved it as a little bit as I was kind of blending into the stencil and trying to get that brush or blender tip in all the way into it to try to get all the little different crevices. But I also knew a lot of stuff was going on this, so I wasn't 100% concerned about it looking exactly perfect. So the other thing I did with the backgrounds was once I was done, I sprayed them all with clear shimmer spray or whitish shimmer spray. I have a video on my YouTube channel on how I make mine. And so it's just some that I made. And then I stamped them using Hero Arts Intense Black, because it's good for Copic coloring. And then obviously I am going to be doing some Copic coloring because that's where we are already. I showed you all of the colors that we're using, and I picked some different kind of colors. Instead of making the turtles all green, I picked some more turquoisey or teal looking colors, and I used some of those as well on these turtles. Now I ended up stamping out 3 pages, and I do end up coloring all of them, but I only show one of the pages that I ended up coloring, because otherwise we'd be sitting here for a really long time watching me color this, and I didn't think there was any reason for that. So I just kind of went through this first one. And then after I get through coloring everything, I use my scan and cut to cut out all of the images. And one of my turtles ended up getting his head cut off. I kind of knew that it didn't look right on my scan and cut. If you don't have one, you won't understand this, but if you have one, you'll understand what I'm saying. You know, you can see what the images look like, and I moved through the images and it didn't pick up that it was there, but it did end up cutting one of the heads off. but I ended up using it anyway. Since I was gluing it down, I just glued it down next to it and it looked fine. Unless you're really looking at it and knowing that there's an issue with it, you probably would never even notice that there was a problem. But since you'll see me putting his head on separate, you'll see it in this video. So once I finish up all of the coloring, like I said, with these, then I kind of get to figuring out what I'm going to be using and which backgrounds and which turtles I want with the different backgrounds, and kind of make my little scenes. I like the sentiments in this kit, or in this stamp set. It says, "I'll ride any wave with you," and "You are totally amazing." I end up using both of them twice on, 2 on 2 for the 4 different cards. And then after I finish the coloring and cutting them out and everything, I pick out some card bases. And the card bases are just from my pile of, not scrap pile, but my stash that I have of different card bases that I just acquire when I get some papers and I don't quite know what to do with them. I'll make card bases for them and just keep them in my stash ready to go. I like colored cards. I have realized that over time that I really do like the colored cards, and I like leaving that little bit of an edge for the outline to give it that little pop of color in the back. I think it does a lot for photos and stuff, or photos, what the heck am I talking about? For the card sometimes, just to give it that little bit of extra color in the background. That's just my personal opinion. So those are the different card bases that I ended up picking out. I think I did end up using one white one. That's actually a dark green. It kind of looks black or grayish in the video, but it's actually a dark green. So like I said, I just kind of had figured out where I wanted to kind of place everything, and then what I wanted to do for the sentiments. Now I end up stamping the sentiments and cutting them out, and I wasn't sure, because these are more boxy sentiments, it's not like a strip, and you can't really cut them. I mean, I guess you can, but it's still, the wave and the turtley is still so large, you would still need a pretty large banner or something to go across it in order to use it in a straight line. So I ended up just leaving it the way they are and using my crocodile to just kind of round out the edges on all of these. And then one of them I end up popping up with some foam tape, and the rest of them I just kind of stick down in there. But that was just, like I said, deciding exactly where I wanted everything and then placing it down. Now with the first one, you'll see I end up using the black gel pen just to dot the eyes. I use some glossy accents for the shell, and I use Spectrum Noir Sparkle pen, and I put some sparkle on some of the smaller images, as well as just the turtles, like their bodies, not their shells, because I use the glossy accents on the shells. And on a couple of the cards I end up using some Nouveau Dream Drops in the dragon scales. I had used them on a project last month and they were still sitting on my desk, and the color is just kind of perfect to go along with a sea or ocean or water theme. So I thought they were I just ended up using them since they were still sitting on my desk. But after I do this first one, then I thought, I'm going to do all that stuff after I put all the cards together, do all the gluing and stuff. This, my little bottle, I don't know what was wrong with it. It was stuck in there and it was, I don't know, but it wasn't working, so I had to go get my big bottle of glossy accents. And like I said, I just put that all around their shell to kind of give it the look of an actual shell. So once it dries, it looks really cute as it dries. And there's the gel pen, and like I said, I used the Spectrum Noir Sparkle pen on it as well. And these I cut as close to the kind of the sentiment as I kind of could, because I didn't want it to take up too much space, but I definitely wanted it to still obviously be there and pop out. So that's why I did end up leaving them white, or just on the white background. Now this card base is a dark blue card base. that I decided, and obviously I had to trim off some of the pieces on the base. So these are all A2 size cards, and the front panel of the cards on all of them I cut down to 4 inches by 5¼ inches, and that's really all I did for those. And then, like I said, stamped the sentiments and cut those out and just rounded out the edges with the crocodile. This one I think is so stinking cute. I just love the sentiment, I'll ride any wave with you, and I love that little turtle that's kind of dashing out in the front, and the other ones are just chilling behind them, catching the waves. I don't know. I just thought it was super cute. When I was telling my kids about it, they just kind of looked at me like I was crazy, but that's okay. It was cute. I was happy with it, and that's what matters, right? So like I said, these I just end up picking everything out and putting them all down, and not stopping to do all the extra things until after I finish all of them. This is just me putting all of the cards together. And then, like I said, I think on the next one is where the turtle's head is off. And I was having a hard time figuring out which side. I mean, I knew which side was where the head went, but where it actually went, I had to pull out one of the other ones and kind of look at it like, okay, that's where the head was supposed to go. Okay, got it. I ended up really liking how these all turned out with the backgrounds. After I kind of first made all of the backgrounds, I was kind of like, I don't know if I think they look watery enough, you know, if they exactly look like a water scene. But then I really liked them after, and I liked how they all came together when I was done. I know my son was funny because when I made that dot one, the Tim Holtz with the embossing folder, he was like, I don't like that one at all. And then after I put the card together, he was like, you know, I really like that a lot more than I thought I would. He was like, it really came together nicely. My son is the only one who, I know he really doesn't care, but at least he pacifies me and pretends he cares. Whereas my daughter and my husband are just kind of like, oh yeah, that's cool, great, bye. But my son will actually give me some opinion on it. And I know he gives me his honest opinion as to what he thinks about it, but like I said, I know he could really care less. But I appreciate the fact that he pacifies me in my craft. I guess he's repaying me for all the years that I sat watching him play soccer and football and ROTC events and everything else that my kids were in. So, like I said, I appreciate that he does all of that for me. But, like I said, this is the one that he really did not like, and then after it came together, he thought it was really cute. All the little images are just super cute. I just love, I think water scenes are probably one of my favorite things of all time to make. So I'm super excited about this month for Scrapping for Less, and everything is kind of water themed. It makes me very excited as to what everything will be coming out, and to be able to see everyone's different posts every day that they're going to have. So now that all 3 of those are done, I'm just going to go in, like I said, with the different things, the Spectrum Noir Sparkle Pen, the black gel pen, and then the glossy accents to, like I said, give it that shell, that kind of hard shell look. I used a green card base for one of them, kind of like a light green, and then a hot pink or a fuchsia kind of pink for one of the other ones. And then at the end I put a couple Nuvo drops, like I said, on a couple different ones. One suggestion I'm going to give you when you do this, and the reason why I decided to do this all at the end is, I don't know about you guys, but I inevitably touch my cards somehow after I make them. And especially with the glossy accents, and some of them had the Nuvo drops and all the different stuff on here, I just knew I was going to end up screwing up. So you can see I kind of laid them all out there and tried to go kind of in order so that I didn't have to kind of backtrack and go over something, because I end up laying my arm in there or laying my finger on it or picking it up or doing something stupid. So that is it. Those are my cards. I hope you enjoyed this today, and I hope everybody has a great day. Make sure you check back all month for super water themed stuff, posts from all of the Scrapping for Less design team. Thanks, and have a great day.